Chapter 161 Sensation of Heart. Seeing her shocked expression, Thomas said, "Miss Green, when you were drunk, you became so different." She blushed and smiled embarrassedly. Then she turned around and walked into the house with the bear in her arms. She hated alcohol. Last night she was drunk, but what about William Walton? He wasn't drunk, so why did he allow her to do whatever she wanted? Just because of a little bear, he broke into someone else's shop? Was he crazy? When she entered the living room, William Walton was not there. Coincidentally, she didn't want to lose face either. She quickly walked up the stairs and returned to her room. But as soon as she pushed the door open, she was stupefied. In the corner of her room, there were all sorts of dolls. Small bear, small rabbit, happy, big bear, small frog, small turtle. She stood by the door, her eyes filled with these things. Next door, William Walton had already finished changing and was coming out. Seeing her standing there in a daze, he came up to her and peered in. "What's wrong?" She pointed to the room, a little speechless. "You couldn't have ordered them to prepare this, could you?" "It's me. Is it touching? Touching? No." She was speechless. "Are you doing this to laugh at me?" "Why did I do that? Don't you like cloth puppets? If you do, I'll buy them for you. Is there anything wrong with that?" She looked at him. "When did I say that I like cloth puppets?" "Don't you like it?" "Why would I like a doll when I'm already so old? I don't like it." "You said last night that you love dolls. Could it be that the doll you're referring to isn't fake?" He looked at her stomach. She blushed. "What nonsense are you thinking about? After I got drunk, I'm a bit confused and talking nonsense." "Your mind isn't clear, but your instincts tells me that you like dolls." "Heh. I actually think that what you said was what you were thinking in your heart." "I mean, when I was young, there weren't many girls who didn't like dolls. I liked them when I was young too. At that time, I was really looking forward to Mom buying them for me, but unfortunately, we had no money." "Perfect, I can buy them for you because I am rich. But I've already grown up, so I don't need others to buy it for me. I have hands and feet myself, and I can buy things that I like." William Walton raised his eyebrows. "Then why didn't you buy it?" "After I grew up, when I had the ability and money to buy them, I realized that the doll no longer attracted me. So many people said that if you like something, you must buy it when you like it, because if you don't buy it now, you might not like it so much when you meet it again in the future. Since this isn't something that we'll eventually like, why should we buy it? In this world, how many people will like a person or other thing forever? Sometimes girls are impulsive in shopping, and what they buy are not the products, they buy feelings. Although they may regret it later on, God and I both know that we were deeply moved by something at that time, just like this doll." As she spoke, she lowered her head to look at the cloth doll in her hand and said with a slight headache, "When I was young, I was indeed moved by them. But now, I can no longer be moved." William Walton smiled, then bent his body slightly as he moved his face close to hers. The distance between them was so close that she blinked and took 2 steps back. "What's wrong again?" He smiled charmingly. "Earlier, you said it very well. Something that moved the heart when you were young may not move when you grow up. Dolls are like this, and humans are the same." She stared at his face, puzzled. What did he mean? Back then, whether it was Earl or some else, the people that you liked were only a moment of palpitation due to you not being sensible when you were young. But now, you have grown up. You should understand that you won't like them anymore. Laura raised her hand and poked his forehead. "William Walton, what the hell is going on in your mind?" She was truly speechless. This man really knew how to find opportunities. William Walton smirked. "Miss Green is such a smart woman. How could you not understand what I mean?" He straightened up and went into her room. She said, "I want to change clothes. Why are you following me in?" "You don't have to care about me. Just change." "What? I'm about to change my clothes. Would it be appropriate for a man like you to stay here?" "What's wrong with that? We've slept many times and we had sex twice. I've seen everything that I shouldn't have seen. Don't mind." She was anxious. She stomped her feet. "I do mind. Then I'm not going to the cloakroom. You can go in and change." She rolled her eyes. She was speechless. She placed the bear on the bed, turned around and entered the cloakroom. She changed into her house dress and walked out. William Walton was half lying on her bed, reading a book on her bedside table. "Are you taking postgraduate classes?" She walked up and took out the book in his hands, placing it back on the tea table. She looked down at him condescendingly and said, "You followed me and came to my room. What do you want?" "You," he smirked. "Me?" William Walton, before he could finish speaking, she immediately reacted and glared at him. "Can you be more serious?" She was truly helpless. The William Walton in front of her was different from the William Walton that others had seen. She could swear. "I'm very serious. Didn't you ask me what I wanted to do? I only answered you according to my own thoughts. You can agree with me. I'm already in bed. Of course, you also have the right to oppose me. After all, your body is yours." "I don't agree." "Then forget it." "Then why didn't he go out?" "Is there something else?" "Of course. Didn't you run away this morning? Shouldn't we talk about what happened last night?" Again. Was he addicted to talking to a woman after such a thing? "There's no need to talk about it. My request is the same as last time. If you don't lose out on this matter, we're even. Don't bring it up again." Don't bring it up. Do you think it's possible? She looked at him. Why is it impossible? Last time, I didn't plan on developing further with you, so of course I can agree with you, but it's different this time. We've already slept together, so of course we have to try to figure it out clearly. Gritting her teeth, she said, All right, tell me, what's your plan? Logically speaking, at that time, you were drunk. There were some things that I had no proof of, but in reality, last night, you were the one who messed around. You may not have remembered your actions, but I clearly remembered them, so I'll make a request this time. As she stared at him, she couldn't help but feel that there was something wrong with his composed expression. You? What request do you have? I demand that you be responsible for me. Chapter 162. I'm not that bad. Cough, cough, cough. She obviously didn't drink anything, but after hearing William Walton's words, she was choked by the air. She stared at his face for a long time. After confirming that he wasn't joking, she finally asked, You said that I should take responsibility for you. Why? Who made the rules that only men would be responsible for women? Can't you take responsibility for me? She raised her chin, not wanting to lose in terms of momentum. Otherwise, it would be too unsightly. That's our matter. If you don't want to, can I still force myself on you? That's right. If I resist, you won't be able to do anything to me. But why should I resist? It's not like I can't, even though I voluntarily slept with you, but you should pay? You've already slept with me. Do you think you still have the qualifications to say anything to me now? She was so angry that she was about to vomit blood. He took advantage of her, and he even wanted to get repaid. What a greedy capitalist. Since you've already volunteered, how can this be considered my fault? Seeing her eyes that were so stifled that it seemed like she wanted to kill someone, William Walton laughed. If you didn't seduce me, I would have the opportunity to do that. So that's your fault. You see, normally I didn't force you, but if you didn't want to, I wouldn't force you, so we never crossed the line. But you wanted to sleep with me last night, and I wanted to, so we did. But just because I don't struggle doesn't mean that you have no fault. So, you should take the responsibility, shouldn't you? She lowered her eyes. Why? The more he spoke, the more she felt that he was right. He was so eloquent. Was his mouth blessed? Did I force you to drink last night? No, you wanted to drink. You were holding your own glass and pouring each cup into your stomach. You got drunk because of your actions, and I became the target for you to vent your anger on. Even if I did it willingly, you would still take responsibility for it. Do you admit or not? She looked at him and bit her lips, regretting her actions. How could she be so unlucky as to run into William Walton? She met him when she got drunk the first time, and the second time. It was said that a same thing would never happen for 3 times. So she could have avoided him this time. But she was so unlucky, it was him again. Originally, I did not plan to force you so hard, but seeing you and that Earl together, you guys were talking and laughing so much, I was furious. That's why I'm asking you to take responsibility for me right now. Then how do you want me to take responsibility? 2 choices. 1, be my wife. 2nd, be my girlfriend. She sighed. What, you're not satisfied? Then I'll give you 2 more choices. I'll be your husband or your boyfriend. What's the difference between this and the previous one? He really knew how to tease people. Fine, I am kind. I'll give you another choice. From today onwards, sleep with me every night. She glared at him. You. After going through it again and again, there were only these few options. Still not satisfied? Laura, don't do that. I've already given in a lot. He said he was generous by his expression, which made Laura crazy. If she continued to let him lead her by the nose, then would she be able to live on in the future? No, she's not a fool. Fight back. You should keep these 5 choices for yourself. I won't choose any of them. William Walton raised his eyebrows. So, you plan to not admit it? This is not the point. As you said, I was drunk last night and I don't even remember what happened. Now that you have no proof for what you said, why should I believe you? Maybe you saw that I was drunk and were interested in my beauty, so after you did the whole thing, you took the opportunity to set me up. After saying that, she firmly shook her head. I don't believe that I'm the kind of person you speak of, so I won't take the blame. I won't choose any of the choices you give me. William Walton stared at her for a moment, then smiled. Laura, you've become crafty. She curled her lips. I've been trained by you for so long. If I don't even have this little bit of progress, then wouldn't it be a waste for me to stay by your side for so long? Hearing her words, William Walton laughed heartily. Very good. Laura, seeing that you have become smarter, I will give you a chance to turn things around. Tell me, how do you want to settle last night's matter? After thinking about it, she said, There's no need to solve it. Just let it be like the first time. Just go through it and it will be fine. No way, he said, raising his eyebrows at her. She said, You said that you originally planned on not caring about it anymore, but it's because I met Brother Earl today. Just as she was speaking, he shot her a cold glance. She quickly corrected herself. Old acquaintance, that's why you have to care about it. But I don't have anything to do with this old acquaintance of mine, so why do you need to do this? You said you liked him when you were a kid. The love I had when I was young was different from the feeling I had when I grew up. I still understand this point. So what do you want to say? I just want to say that I don't have the kind of relationship you think I have with him. William Walton raised his eyebrows. Then who is more important one for you? Can you stop asking such boring questions? You have to choose one. Sometimes William Walton was just too childish. She was not stupid at this time. Even if she died, she wouldn't choose Earl. She did not want to be targeted by William Walton. William Walton smirked. These words aren't against your conscience? We've been together for so long, yet you don't even trust me this much? You still have the nerve to say that you like me? All right, since you're being so sincere, I will erase the first 4 choices. Choose again. First, sleep with me in the future, but I won't touch you. Second, we'll sleep on our own from now on, but you have to do what you did last night with me. Laura, she frowned. You are shameless. How can a man be so easy to change into a vegetarian after he knows the taste of meat? Hurry up and choose. Someone are waiting for us to go downstairs for dinner. I don't choose. Then I'll agree that you'll choose the second option, he said and turned to go downstairs. Laura, she said, I choose the first one. She wouldn't do it with him. They had slept in the same bed so many times that she seemed to get used to it. However, if she was awake, she definitely wouldn't be able to do what she did with him last night. Just by thinking about it, she felt her face was burning. She was too shy. William Walton turned around and glanced at her. You never suffer any loss. He opened the door and went out. However, after he left the room, an evil smile hung on his lips. He just spun around a little and hooked her. This little girl really thought that she was enlightened. But in the end, still so stupid. Chapter 163, I'll break your legs. Laura was relieved and went downstairs with him to have the meal. The table was set well. While seeing her sit down, William Walton asked, Do you want a drink? She rolled her eyes at him and said with a stifled voice, I don't drink. In the future, I will never drink in front of you again. Then who are you going to drink with? Don't worry about that. In the future, I won't let you see me drunk. William Walton said seriously, If you dare drink in front of a second man other than me, I'll break your legs. Do you remember? Because of his tone, the butler by the side broke out in a cold sweat for the sake of Laura. She looked at him. Why are you so meddlesome? You were the one who took the initiative last night. With your looks, I can't push you away, and neither can those other men. Just being drunk means being taken advantage of, so I should warn you. He raised his eyebrows. The woman I touched, even if I have to raise you for the rest of your life, I won't allow you to be touched by others. Do you remember that? She was embarrassed. She glanced at the butler behind him and glared at him. Stop talking. Hurry up and eat. I asked you if you remembered. She was speechless. Why didn't he feel embarrassed at all? She nodded again and again. Yes, I remembered. Also, don't go with that principal to do public relations with other men. Do you hear me? She frowned. I never did that before. If it wasn't for you last night, I would never have gone out to eat with the principal. Hearing her words, William Walton smirked and picked up the fork. When she mentioned the principal, she thought of Monica Brown. She looked at him, and after hesitating for a moment, she did not say anything. William Walton swallowed 2 mouthfuls of food before saying, Just say what you want to say. Don't stutter. The matter of Monica Brown's resignation, was it because of you? William Walton only laughed but did not reply. She asked, Why did you do that? What do you think? He said, looking at her arm. Is it really because of the injury of my arm? Because she broke her promise, and also because she was narrow-minded. I warned her that you were the woman I was covering for, but clearly, she didn't take my words to heart, so it can't be said that I drove her away. I think that she is committing her own sins. She couldn't blame others. When she heard him say this, she did not argue any further. She understood his good intentions, so she naturally didn't need to say anything more. After dinner, she went upstairs to her room to read. William Walton went to the study room to busy himself for a while before coming up and entering her room. Do you want to sleep in your room tonight or come to my place? Laura frowned. You mean it? Do you think I have nothing better to do? Do you think I'm here to play with you? As he spoke, he closed the door. Then let's sleep in this room. It will save your trouble of going back and forth. Keep reading, I'll go take a bath. He went into the bathroom and sat up on the bed. She looked down at her dress. No matter how she looked at it, it was not safe. She stood up and went to the cloakroom to change into a pair of long pants. She had already decided that she would go buy a set of jumpsuit pants and sleep in it tomorrow. Otherwise, he would see her body because she couldn't care about her clothes when she was asleep. She looked at the other side of the bed and scratched her forehead. She felt. Sleeping together was weird. The more she thought about it, the more she felt that something was wrong. It couldn't be that she was set up again. On the first night, William Walton was extremely honest as he slept beside her. Half a night later, seeing that he wasn't acting recklessly, Laura finally fell asleep at ease. The next day, she returned the scarf she had worn yesterday to Mia and gave another to Sabrina as a gift. After Sabrina put on the scarf, both Mia and Gary praised her, saying that she suited the scarf. Sabrina was very happy and thanked her. In order to express her gratitude, at noon, Sabrina asked the 3 people in the office to have lunch together. Initially, she wanted to reject her offer, but Sabrina had said that ever since the four of them had entered an office, they had never eaten together. So, the three of them happily agreed. At lunchtime, Sabrina said, "Hey, let me tell you a big gossip. This morning, I heard from one of the professors in our department that there would be brochures appearing, and that some of the more authoritative professors would be there to take photos. In addition to professors, the school also has 2 teachers' representatives and 2 students' representatives. This is to be used as a school enrollment pamphlet. The person selected can be considered as the school enrollment representative in the future." The Mia said, "This seems to be the first time our school has done this sort of promotional work. Yes, the new president should at least set a few fires, but you know what the main point is?" This morning, after hearing about this, the foreign language department's Linda wrote a self-introduction letter to the principal. Gary was surprised. "Ah, Linda is ugly. How can she be so brave? If she's chosen, then we can all be chosen, right? Didn't she graduate from Harvard? I heard that the diploma is very strong." On the contrary, she felt that this matter couldn't be decided by looks. What? No matter how capable she is, how can she be the spokesperson with that appearance? When the students saw this, they thought, "Holy crap, this school's teachers were ugly and it'll affect their learning motivation. No one would apply for our school." Hearing Sabrina's words, Gary could not help but laugh. "I also feel that Linda is unsuitable, but it is a pity that counselors can't be candidates, and if we can, then I will recommend myself as well, because this is a good thing to bring honor to my family. Save it, since we have Laura here, no one will win." Sabrina laughed heartily. Gary pointed to her face and said, "I really want to exchange looks with you." On the other hand, Sabrina secretly smiled. "I want to exchange breasts with her." The three of them simultaneously looked at her chest. She embarrassedly furled her coat and said, "This cloth makes them look bigger." As soon as she finished speaking, the waiter came and served them food. With food, everyone changed the topic as they ate. At noon, Laura rested in her office for a while. Just as she was about to take her students to fight in the tournament, someone knocked on the door and came in. "Miss Green, Principal Burke invites you over." "Thank you." After that person left, all 3 pairs of eyes in the office focused on her. Sabrina asked, "Miss Green, what's wrong?" She shrugged her shoulders and shook her head. "Who knows? I'll have to take a look before I know." She pretended as if nothing had happened and walked out, but she was still a bit puzzled in her heart. Why would the principal look for her so openly? Was it related to William Walton again? Chapter 164. She's had some bad luck lately. After arriving at office of the principal, Principal Burke was very cordial. "Laura, how was it when you went back the night before yesterday? Everything is fine?" She shook her head gently and smiled. "Yes, I'm good. My head hurts after sleeping for the whole night. Everything else is fine." "Ah, your appearance after drinking alcohol is so scary. You called his name while pointing to Mr. Walton's name. I've really never seen such a bold girl like you." Embarrassed, she said, "It could be, to the alcohol, make people less afraid." Principal Burke laughed heartily. "You are interesting," she asked. "Principal, what do you want me to do?" "Oh, I don't know if you've ever heard about the matter of the school's brochure." Ingenious, she nodded. "I heard other teachers mention it at noon." I called you here to ask if you are interested in participating in this matter." Laura looked at him, somewhat puzzled. "What does the principal wish me to do? Or is there something I need to prepare?" "I can either." Principal Burke laughed. "You do not need to worry about this matter. What I mean is, you should join and be the representative of the students." "Huh?" After a moment of surprise, she smiled. "I've already graduated. How can I be the students' representative?" "At today's meeting, many professors have recommended you. On top of that, you are a student who just graduated from our school this year, and also a tutor who stayed in school. It would be perfect for you to be the representative of our students." Laura shook her head. "Principal, I'm sorry. I'm going to push this favor out. I don't intend to take it." The principal looked at her. This woman, so many people were fighting over this opportunity that even their heads were going to break. He wanted to give her this opportunity for the sake of Benjamin Walton. But she actually refused his favor? "Don't refuse me immediately. About the male representatives, we have decided on Benjamin, and I think that the 2 of you have the best image, and with the 2 of you knowing each other, it will be convenient if you guys could cooperate." Upon hearing his words, a thought flashed through her mind. "Principal, how about this? If Benjamin agrees, I'll cooperate with him. If he doesn't agree, can you find someone else?" It wasn't good for her to directly reject the principal, but if Benjamin did it, then she wouldn't have to offend anyone. Hearing her words, the principal nodded and smiled. "Then let's call it a deal, because he has already agreed." She was so shocked that her chin almost fell to the ground. "Ah, no way. Benjamin shouldn't be someone who likes to join in this matter." At first, he didn't agree. Then, after hearing that it was just 2 photos, he gave us one condition, and that was it. "What condition?" "He's going to add 2 people he likes to play basketball with." She looked at the principal helplessly. Had she bet wrongly, or had she been out of luck recently? "Laura, this is settled. You should go back earlier. There will be someone who will inform you about the rest of the filming." She nodded with a pained expression on her face. Did he have to go to the temple recently? Just as she left office of the principal, after a few steps, a woman walked over. After she walked past the woman suddenly stopped in her tracks. She turned her head and said gently, "You are Miss Green, right?" She turned her head to look at her. This was clearly a face she didn't recognize, but how could the other party know her surname? "May I ask who you are?" "Don't you remember me? I am the daughter of the principal, Emily Burke. We met 2 nights ago at the clubhouse where you ate with my father and Mr. Walton." Laura in wonder. The clubhouse. When had she ever seen a woman? "Don't you remember? You were a little drunk and said I was a ghost girl." "I'm sorry, Miss Burke. I was a little drunk the night before yesterday. I think I spoke nonsense." Emily Burke patted her shoulder. "If you will act improperly after being drunk, so you should drink less. If you don't take my advice, you will suffer." She was embarrassed. "Thank you for your reminder." After she finished speaking, she nodded towards Emily Burke and prepared to leave. Emily Burke said, "I heard that you have a good relationship with Benjamin Walton, right?" Laura looked at her. Why did this person mention Benjamin? Could it be that they know each other? Seeing her doubtful gaze, Emily Burke said, "Oh, don't misunderstand. I heard it from my father because he brought you along to eat with Third Master 2 nights ago. I mistook my father for being reckless outside." She smiled. "I am on good terms with Benjamin. The principal took me out to dinner because I know him, so he wanted to use me to find Third Master for some money." Emily Burke walked in front of her. "Then what is your relationship with Mr. Walton?" She unconsciously swallowed her saliva and replied, "Not bad." Emily Burke excitedly grabbed her wrist. 2 nights ago, my dad originally wanted to introduce me to Mr. Walton, but because you were drunk, we messed up. Mr. Walton and I are alumni. I especially admire him. If there is a chance, can you introduce us to each other?" As she looked at Emily Burke's face, she thought to herself that it probably wasn't just a simple worship. What did the principal mean by introducing his daughter to William Walton? Could it be that he planned to pass his daughter's olive branch to William Walton? Thinking of this, she felt an indescribable displeasure in her heart. William Walton, this vixen, was seducing women everywhere, yet he had the nerve to say that she was the one who attracted bees and butterflies everywhere. Seeing her dazzled, Emily Burke patted her. "Miss Green?" She replied, "Yes. What are you thinking?" "Nothing. I was thinking about work." "Then do remember to help me introduce the things that I asked of you just now." Let's talk about it when we have the chance." "Yes, it is. Of course there's a chance. Moreover, this chance will soon come. My dad said that the school had invited Mr. Walton to be a special lecturer in the Department of Business and Management, and that he was going to teach business and management. Now that Mr. Walton has agreed, he is waiting for him to adjust the time." Hearing her say that, Laura was surprised. Why had William Walton never mentioned this to her before? As Emily Burke said this, she became a little excited. "In the future, I will be able to see him frequently in school. At that time, as long as you get Benjamin's help in making the introductions, I will have more opportunities to contact him." Becoming a lecturer? Mr. Walton? What could he say since he was so young? Isn't this delaying the student's study time? Even if they wanted to flatter him, it wouldn't be such a waste of the precious time of so many students, right? Looked like the new dean was only mediocre. Hearing this, Emily Burke laughed disdainfully. "It looks like you don't really understand Mr. Walton." She was staring at her. What did this have to do with her not understanding William Walton? Chapter 165. The Real Super Bookworm, William Walton. Emily Burke hugged her chest. "I feel that I need to spread some of Mr. Walton's information. I am 5 years younger than him, but he graduated 9 years earlier than me from the university. I think I have the most right to speak. He was a top student who had jumped 2 levels in junior high school and obtained a master's degree at the age of 22. After graduation, he entered the family business, and in 2 years' time, he managed to pull the company's performance to one of the top 10 in the country. In our school, he can be considered a myth. If you were to find a person in our city to teach in business management at Philadelphia University, that person must definitely be the Third Master." She stunned. He was actually so powerful, she really didn't know. Seeing that she really did not know anything, Emily Burke's expression revealed a little disdain. It seems that she had overestimated this woman. After all, Mr. Walton was such a high and mighty figure. How could he be touched by a university counselor like her? She shook her head and said, "Forget it. Let's just pretend that I didn't say anything." She turned and arrogantly walked towards office of the principal, no longer planning to waste words with a small fry like Laura Green. After looking at Emily Burke's back, she turned and left as well. After she left the office, she went straight to the entrance of the stadium. Not long after, Benjamin Walton followed the school sports team and came out. Seeing the Laura from far away, Benjamin Walton ran over first by himself. "Laura, let me tell you, I swapped out the 2 team members who were dragging me down. This time, our school will win for sure. Don't forget the condition you promised me." Laura looked at him speechlessly. "So, you negotiated with the school for the sake of winning the game. You only need to change 2 people before you take out the school brochure." "You know about this. I was planning to tell you after the afternoon match. She patted his arm. Kid, why don't you discuss this with me? Isn't it just taking 2 photos? What's there to discuss? Is this about taking 2 pictures? She was speechless. Because of you, I've been stuck inside. What do you mean? Benjamin Walton did not understand. What does my agreeing to this have to do with you? The principal just asked me to go with you as his student representative to take a picture of the brochure. I refused. The principal said, the male representative. I thought you would refuse, so I told the principal that as long as you took part, I would participate. But I don't expect you to agree with him. Hearing this explanation, Benjamin Walton laughed out loud. Such a coincidence. Is this a coincidence? It's my bad luck, all right? I've already graduated, and now I am a teacher, but I still have to be the student's representative. What a joke. Those girls who want to be the student's representative, aren't they scolding me to death behind my back? Benjamin Walton casually placed his arm on top of his warm shoulder. It's all right. Laura, if anyone dares to laugh at you, you can tell William. William will definitely help you take care of them. She hissed and rolled her eyes at him, shaking off his arm on her shoulder. You brat, you still dare to tease me? I'll kill you. Benjamin Walton laughed out loud. In front of William, I don't dare to make fun of you, so I have to grab the rare opportunity. She was speechless. All right, I'm so depressed. What should I do? How can I push this matter out? Isn't that simple? I have a way. When she heard that, she got excited. What way? Benjamin Walton whispered into her ear. Go and find William and act coquettishly and ask for his help. There's nothing that William can't do. She raised her hand to pinch him, causing Benjamin Walton to feel pain. Ah, Laura, are you trying to kill your own brother-in-law? She rolled her eyes at him. I'll just strangle you to death. She turned around and walked towards the school gate. Benjamin Walton followed along. Laura, don't believe me. As long as you are willing, William can take care of everything for you. You'd better shut your golden mouth. She said, thinking of something and asking, let me ask you, was William really that good when he was a student? Benjamin Walton looked at her. Why did you ask this? I've heard that the school has hired him to help our students manage their businesses. No way. Benjamin Walton looked at her in shock. I just went to the office of the principal and heard from the principal's daughter that William has already agreed. This matter shouldn't be fake, right? Did William tell you that? She shook her head. No. Benjamin Walton heaved a sigh of relief. Then there's no credibility to it. You scared me a lot. What are you afraid of? I'm not afraid, but if your own brother were to become your teacher, wouldn't you feel awkward? Hearing this, it was true. Of course, when William was in school, his grades were indeed very good. It is said that he was the kind of student who could learn and remember the content the teacher recited once in class, and he could use it flexibly. You did not see the certificate and trophy that he locked in his closet at home, otherwise you would have been shocked by him. Listening to Benjamin Walton's words, she remembered the night William Walton helped her solve the advanced math questions. She was indeed shocked by William Walton's ability to solve problems. After all, she was good at math. The questions on the book were indeed a collection of questions from the past years. However, under his guidance, she was able to easily find out the answers. At that time, she felt that he was very capable, but she didn't expect him to be this capable. When she returned home for dinner that night, she felt very preoccupied. On the way back, she received a call from Mia. Mia heard that the school had set her as the student representative. The Mia continued. Some students started to cause a ruckus in the forums after hearing this news, asking why they don't choose a real student in the campus but find a counselor who had already graduated to represent them. I'm afraid you're in trouble. William Walton gave her some food, and she ate it in a trance. Seeing that, William Walton put down his fork and looked at her. Laura, she looked at him. Did you say anything? What happened? Why do you look like you've lost your soul? She shook her head. I'm fine. But just as she finished speaking, she remembered what Benjamin Walton had told her in the afternoon. She bit her lips, thought for a while, then said while looking at him, William Walton, do me a favor. Go ahead. They decide to make brochure to make propaganda for our school. The principal fined Benjamin and me to do the student representative. I don't want to do that. I thought that Benjamin definitely wouldn't want to join in the commotion, so I told the principal that I will do that if Benjamin agree. But I was wrong. Benjamin had already been persuaded in advance, so I can't go back on my word. Help me think of a way to escape, she said, grinning at him. William Walton raised his eyebrows. If I help you, what benefits do I get?